Okay. All right, Jeff, we're gonna get started.
All right, I call this January 12th, 2026 meeting of the Mobile Town Council to order. All members are present. Welcome Brian and Taryn Edwards, as well as Nancy from the Nashville Graphic. Moving on to our consent agenda. It's a long one today, in part because we did the amendments to the budget for the Town Seal project and the related promo materials. So we have approval of November 10th minutes. We also had a closed session on November 10th. So we'll be approving those minutes. We had the special meeting on the 12th to discuss the Town Seal. So we'll discuss those minutes, as well as the November, December finance reports and the budget amendments number 4 and 5.
I make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any further discussion on the consent agenda? All in favor of approval of the consent agenda in full, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, consent agenda is approved. Sheila, did we have any public comment?
Nobody signed up to speak, no, sir.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jackson, do you have a fire report?
The fire report for December, they had 6 fire calls in the fire district. They had 14 calls assist other stations. They had 8 rescue calls in other stations. They had first responder calls. They had 24. They had a total of 52 calls for December total. And just in comparison, in 2020, they had 328 calls for the year. 2024, they've had 447 calls. And in 2025, they had 565 calls. And all the equipment's up and running. And that's all I got this time, unless somebody's got any questions.
Thank you. Any other council reports?
The COG meets this month on the 20th, so I'll go in that meeting.
Anybody else? Richard Matthews did complete the 4th quarter audit. Georgiana Edwards is up for 1st quarter. We will move on to Brian Edwards. If you have a planning board update.
So this is an update from our Thursday, November 20th, 2025 planning board meeting. The board began its review of the rough draft of the ordinance. Overall, board members found the format of the rough draft difficult to follow. Paragraph style presentation was noted as particularly challenging to interpret when compared to the town's current code, which is widely regarded as more user-friendly for staff, the planning board, and the public. Planning board members and myself are very disappointed that we were not afforded the opportunity to meet with the Mid-Eastern Commission prior to the development of this rough draft to provide input on the preferred ordinance format. Earlier coordination may have helped align the draft more closely with the board's expectations and improve its overall usability. An email has been sent to Joshua Hollis with the planning board, town council, and mayor copy and staff summarizing the planning board's initial review of the rough draft ordinance at this time. At this time, the planning board is requesting examples of town ordinance formats that differ from books 1 and 2 and 3 for comparison and discussion. Additionally, during this initial review meeting, several items were identified that will require correction. A summary of these items, along with any additional comments noted during this first review, was included in the aforementioned email. So, there's a lot of things, and I was really disappointed. It's a lot of errors in it, a lot of missing information in the ordinance, which is gonna make it difficult, and then the format is not user-friendly. We're, in my opinion, and the board's opinion, we're going backwards with the layout, so. If Joshua Hollis could provide us with, some other, formats that they use for other towns to see if something, is more user-friendly. We don't wanna make it difficult to interpret our zoning ordinance,
Well, that was the whole reason to make it more
Right. I mean,
user-friendly.
right, we don't wanna go backwards.
Have they agreed to meet with y'all?
I think we need to let Joshua digest what I sent him, and then we'll go from there and determine what the next step is.
When was that correspondence? When did you
I
send it?
just sent it out, with the holidays and some of the work at the end of the year stuff I had to accomplish. I sent it last Friday.
Okay.
So I copied everybody on that, town council as well as planning board and Sheila and the mayor. So you would, be able to see our response.
Thank you, Brian. Any correspondence, Sheila?
No, sir.
We didn't move anything from the consent agenda, so we can jump over to page 2. Sorry, we had a long docket this week, or this month. On to our organizational meeting. First appointment up is the mayor pro tem.
I make a motion that Edward Jackson be appointed as the mayor pro tem.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor of Edward Jackson as mayor pro tem, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next we have the finance officer.
I make a motion that we have,
Second.
Sheila, do you understand what they're saying?
my mind went blank on your name.
That's all right, kid, don't feel bad.
Any further discussion on Martha Lucas being appointed finance officer? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
That's what happens when you get old.
Next, moving on to the budget officer.
Make a motion to Ms. Georgia.
And I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of appointing Georgiana Edwards, the budget officer, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And appointment of representative to the fire department board of directors.
I nominate Edward Jackson.
I second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor of Edward Jackson continuing as our representative to the fire department board of directors, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Bear with me a minute, I gotta find these oaths. Do y'all have reminders or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Very nice.
Appreciate you having it organized for us.
Yeah.
All right, well, first we will do our newly re-elected council members.
Okay.
Since we're close to it, if y'all both want to come up, we can just do it. Slide my chair out of the way. How's that?
That's good.
Get myself organized where I can both read and present the Bible to you. Your left hand on the Bible, right raised, please. I state your name.
I, Richard Matthews,
Do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States,
that I will
Support the Constitution and the laws of the United
States.
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and the constitutional powers and authorities
and the constitutional powers and authorities
which are or may be established
which are or may be established
for the government thereof,
for the government thereof.
that I will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution
I will endeavor to support,
Maintain
maintain
the
the
Constitution
laws of that,
and laws of said state,
and laws of said state,
not inconsistent
not inconsistent
with the Constitution of the United States,
with the
Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
to the best of my knowledge and ability,
and that I will faithfully discharge my duties
that I will faithfully discharge my duties
as my office of town councilman.
as my office of town councilman,
So help me God.
so help me God.
And while we're at it, let's swear in Ms. Ridley again. As Mayor Pro Tem. I, Edward Jackson,
I, Edward Jackson,
do solemnly and sincerely swear
do solemnly and sincerely swear
that I will support the Constitution and laws
that I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States,
of the United States.
and that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
I will be faithful and true allegiance
to the state of North Carolina
to the state of North Carolina
and the constitutional powers and authorities
and the Constitution, power, and authorities
which are or may be established
which may be established
for the government thereof,
to the government thereof.
that I will endeavor to support,
I will endeavor to support,
maintain, and defend the Constitution
maintain, and defend the Constitution
and laws of said state,
and laws of such state,
not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States,
not inconsistent with laws of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge
to the best of my knowledge
and ability,
and ability.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of my office as Mayor Pro Tem.
of my office of Mayor Pro Tem.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
Sorry guys, the punctuation in that thing is a little hokey,
Yeah.
so I never know where to stop.
Challenges.
Yeah.
All right, on to new business, and we're gonna have Jennifer Reese, present our audit findings and information.
Good morning, glad to be with y'all today. I've had a couple, so I apologize if my voice goes in and out during this. Wanted to start off today, we're gonna go through the, June 30th, 2025 audit. You should have a copy, or Sheila was supposed to make everybody a copy of the report. Yes, and we're gonna go through the, two sheets that look like this, and how to start off with.
Everybody front in the binders. What all it is. Okay.
And please feel free to stop
there?
Probably not. Sorry, sorry, got.
No worries. Go ahead, Jennifer, we were trying to get some, get some volume.
No problem, sorry. I kind of going blind here, but since I can't see y'all, so anyway, okay, so we're gonna start off with the government-wide statements. The government-wide statement is going to be found in the report on page 12. So if you want to look in the report, that's what we're gonna be discussing. The sheet that I have just shows some basic numbers taken directly from that statement. And then we're gonna be looking at a comparison to last year and seeing how things may or may not have changed. So first looking at exhibit 1, this is the statement of that position. And you can see here, I've got the 6/30/25 numbers versus the 6/30/24 numbers. And cash and investments for this year was $520,108.
You know,
And that is up from $464,526 last year, with an increase of $55,582, which of course is always great if you've got cash going in the positive direction. There you can also see other current assets. That's going to be made up of things such as taxes receivable, accounts receivable, and accrued interest receivable. And you can see that pretty much stayed in line with the prior year. 28,177 versus 28,831. So only a difference of about $654. The next item on here is the capital assets net of accumulated depreciation. For 6/30/25, it's 166,410, and for 6/30/24, it's 177,455. That went down about $11,000. And pretty much the reason it went down is just because of the fact over time, we did not add any new assets this year. And then over time, we depreciate these assets. So they go down a little bit each year, which is why that number you see it decreasing. For current liabilities, you can see we had 637 this year compared to the 18,784 last year. Basically, the only difference in that is just the fact that last year there was a bill or two left outstanding that wasn't paid by year end that ended up going as part of this, where this year it wasn't. So there was a small decrease there. I believe offhand the reason for last year there was still a payment left on that side of about 16,000, and that was the reason for the larger amount last year. The next item is invested in capital assets. That matches the capital asset number at the top, and that's going to be 166,410 versus 177,455. Restricted by state statute numbers, this year it's 18,913, and last year was 18,660. And that takes us to the unassigned fund balance. For 6/30/25, it's going to be 528,735 versus 6/30/24, which was 455,913. And the good thing there is that's an increase of 72,822. So unassigned means that that's not money that's restricted to a certain purpose in this particular situation. So it's always good if that number is going up, because that means there's less restrictions on the money that you have. The next thing is our total net position for 6/30/25 is going to be 714,058 versus 6/30/24, which is 652,028, for an increase of around 62,000. And that's always good because your net position is kind of where the town stands, and you can kind of see where you are. And so it's great that that went up like it did. One main change that you'll see here to exhibit 2 in the report, that's gonna be found on page 13. It looks and this is basically kind of like all the activities of the government for the year. Yes, we had total revenues of about $141,299, and then compared to last year of $134,299. So a change of about $7,000. Total expenditures last year were about $79,269 compared to the $76,327. So just a little slight increase there. And that gave us increase in net position for the 2. This year was $62,030, and last year was $57,972. So that's in the positive direction, about 4,000. So that's always a plus when it's going in the positive direction. Any questions on this statement of activities? Okay, we're gonna move more and look at the general fund, and that's gonna be found on page 15. And this is gonna be like more on a modified accrual basis, which is the way the town keeps the books. So for that reason, the numbers are a little bit different here. We don't show capital assets and things such as that. So the numbers will differ some from the ones that were on the first page. But this is normally how your books are kept on an everyday basis. It should be in line with what y'all are used to seeing, quarterly reports and that type of thing. So for 6/30/25 on the balance sheet, we've got total assets of $539,528 compared to about $483,603. Once again, there's an increase in cash. That's most of that difference there. For our total liabilities and deferred inflows, you can see for 6/30/25, it's 1,144 compared to 18,784 last year. And once again, that has to do with that accounts payable that was in place that dealt with the new sign that y'all purchased, and I think that payment was actually made in July of 20. Next up, you can see for fund balances, the restricted by state statute is $18,913 compared to $18,660 in the prior year. So those are in line. That basically has to do with the amount of your fund balance that you can't spend because it's receivable type thing, so that money hasn't been received yet. So therefore, your fund balance is restricted for that purpose. Under assigned, this has to do with subsequent year's expenditures, which basically means, do you have anything budgeted appropriating fund balance in the upcoming year that you budgeted for 2026? And for 6/30/24, you did have some, but you did not for 6/30/25, which is why there's a difference there. And next is unassigned, 519,471 for 6/30/25 compared to 441,102 for 6/30/24. Like we discussed before, that went up, and that's because that's unassigned. Anytime this unassigned balance is shown on here, just know with this for future reference. If there are things that the board wants to set aside or, put for certain purposes, we can show that in these statements as committed, just as you have projects for things coming up in the future that might be something you want to show. And in order to do that, you just need to be sure that you say that at a meeting that you want to designate it a certain way for a certain purpose. And using these numbers, unassigned fund balance as a percentage of total fund balance was about 96.49% compared to 94.98% last year. So the good thing is a lot of that fund balance that you have is unassigned and not appropriated for a certain purpose, which gives the board leeway to make plans and make decisions with that number in mind. What questions do you have about the balance sheet? and last year they were $129,682. If you want to look at comparisons of actual line items concerning this, my suggestion is always to look at page 31, and that's where it gives a lot more detail and breaks everything down. You can see the taxes, how they compare, you can see those other things. So that really helps I have, an idea more so about, how different departments did, how certain revenue and lines came in, and how certain expenditures came in. And also on this statement, it also shows the budget, so you can see how you compare to the budget as you were doing these things and you got the numbers throughout the year. So total revenues over here were $142,206 compared to total expenditures of $68,224. And right here you can see the total expenditures went down from last year about $33,000, and that's mainly due to that sign that you got in the previous year that you did not get in 6/30/25. Excuse me. So your net change in fund balance for 6/30/25 was $73,982 compared to $27,543. Unassigned fund balance, one of the things that the LGC uses to gauge, how well your town is doing is looking at this percentage. Your unassigned fund balance is 761.42% of expenditures. So that's well above what it has to be. They look at like 8% as being the amount of what you're trying to be sure to reach. And that's just making sure that towns keep enough money on hand that they've got enough to cover their expenses for at least 3 months. Property tax collection rates, this year the total overall was about 99.28% compared to 99.59%. So it went down a little bit. In your case, it wasn't a huge difference, but the percentage is just different based on what's collected by the county for that year. In the prior year, the total overall was 99.59%, and then the total without motor vehicles was 99.5%. So just a little bit different there. And that's basically the numbers. Anything you want to discuss related to the numbers or any questions that you have? If not, only issues we really found as we were kind of going through things, this year was a year that you had new software, and Sheila, she's learned to encompass working with that, which is great. It makes stuff a lot more easier to follow on my end as far as having the detail and things like that the software provides. I know Sheila was working out some of the kinks, during the year because I could see sometimes, where she was figuring out some of that stuff and how it was entered. But that's natural anytime you have a new software. Problems that we saw, budgeting continues to kind of be an issue in that you did have some items that were over budget. When I went back and looked at the minutes, it looked like some budget amendments were passed after July 1st, but all budget amendments and budget ordinance have to be passed by July 1st. So you have to be sure to pass those timely, even if you have to call like an extra meeting to have it. In the report, the things that ended up being over budget for this current year. Sorry, get it to the right page. It's going to be found on page 25 in the report. In which is something that you can do. I didn't see specific numbers, and I didn't get into a lot of detail with it, because that would be more something we would look at in more detail next year when we do this 26 audit. But just be sure with budget amendments that, you're able to track that information and have all that ready in June to try to get that stuff done as timely as possible. Because that is part of the state statute. Under General Statutes, Chapter 159, Article 3, you are required to pass the budget ordinances and minutes and amendments, by that June 30th date. Any questions regarding the budget? Each year, normally the OGC has us fill out information that we have to send into them, and then they have the council provide a letter, discussing any issues that were found in the audit. Normally the only issues, we've had that we really dealt with, y'all have an issue with separation of duties, which is the reason y'all do quarterly audits by one of the board members and that type of thing, which is perfectly fine. Normally that's something that we have to address in the letter, as well as this, the idea of being over budgeted certain items. So both of those will be two things that need to be addressed as well. And then, I know one thing they, wanted to be sure is when you do your budgeting, on taxes, like you budgeted the taxes, if you look on page 32 at 19,000, but you only got 17,559. So I think it just got a small little thing. And then, you want to be sure that your budget, you're being very conservative with your tax budget, since that's a major revenue for y'all. In this little LGC thing, which I can send to Sheila, it just said it wants it to be less than -3% if you have a difference there. And this year it was -7%. So, what that means is that's saying your budget was 19,000, but you only raised 17,559. So you're coming up under what your budget was. So I would probably just suggest in the future, be very conservative with that number. I know there's some rule of thumbs that they go by sometimes as far as what you use to budget based upon the priority and that type of thing. And I can get you information on that if needed. Or that's also stuff you can look up online or talk to the OGC about as well. But just be sure with that, that your budgets are very conservative with that, because they like it to be, really close on taxes especially. But normally each year, the things, the OGC now has it, so when we fill out the audit, we send in information. And so when we send that information in, it looks at certain items that it wants you to address, like in a letter. And we've done this in the past, so it's nothing new, but those were the 3 things that needed to be, discussed in a letter when you do that. And I can be in contact with Sheila for her to get that drafted and handled, and then y'all can, of course, the board all signs that. So that would be something you don't see before it got sent in. Any questions y'all have or any other information I can help you with?
I think they're good, Jennifer.
Okay. Any questions about the budget, ordinance information, or budget amendments?
So you get in touch with me about the letter that I need to
Yeah,
write
the letter
and
just
to
has to be
sign.
done within 45 or 60 days of this meeting. So that
Okay.
probably would be something that you would present at the next town council meeting, for everybody to sign, so we can get that sent in appropriately.
Okay.
And they normally will send us an email, about an email reminder, what's due and that type of thing. You probably have last year's letter.
I do.
And so pretty much it's just gonna be updating that for any changes. And then, as far as the whole thing about the budgeting thing with the taxes, I would just basically say, in the future, we'll try to budget more conservatively, for those and that type of thing, since it's a
Okay.
higher percentage than they wanted.
Okay. Sounds good.
But your numbers there, it's not some huge difference, I mean, it's just because the amount of small amounts in smaller numbers, make a higher percentage, so,
Right.
it's not that you're doing anything wrong or anything like that. The year before, it was just a little bit different, but it was a smaller percentage. It's like the year before, that percentage was only,
We only had 40 minutes. Sorry, y'all. I'm not gonna pay $100 some dollars to get it for just 1 minute.
I think we got all the meat.
Hey, we're gonna finish it by the phone. I'm sorry it ended. Here you go. Let me put you on speakerphone, okay? Alright, I'm gonna put you on speaker. Sorry, y'all. Okay, Jennifer.
so basically, that was all. I want to thank y'all for the opportunity to let us do the audit, and I enjoyed working with Sheila. I appreciate all of her help with everything and getting everything together. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, by email, and Sheila can share that with you, or by phone if you would like to call me. Anything else I can help you with today?
I think they're good, Jennifer.
We're good.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and y'all have a good day.
Thank you. You too, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Sorry about that, y'all.
What's the name of her company?
The auditor company.
It's,
Winston something or other.
Winston something, yes, along, I'll get it for you after the meeting. I'll get it to you after the meeting. Winston Churchill,
I know. Yeah,
It's Williams Creek Evans and Company.
right.
She said something about page 20, and it was a page she said,
31,
but I
we
didn't
don't
have
have it.
any
We
of
don't
it.
have it.
31.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where she was getting that from, 'cause we don't have it.
I
I
don't
couldn't
either.
follow them.
Oh,
I don't have it either.
I know.
Huh? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll get you an updated version if you would like it, until I need page 31.
We're all right, girl.
Any further discussion on that?
But looking at things, I remember we're in pretty good shape financially.
All right, next item is, the extension on the contract with Mideast. That's because we're moving into a new calendar year.
Right.
Additional money or anything like that.
Well, it sounds out from what Brian's saying, we need to continue to contract with them till they get their stuff straight. Am I right in thinking that, Brian?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, I make a motion that we approve the extension on contract with Mid-East Commission.
Second, and I want to, for whoever needs to notify them, either the mayor or Brian, that we want more interaction with the planning board, as they suggested correctly.
Yeah,
And if whoever contacts them, whether it be the mayor or Brian, let each other know.
Brian's been running point on that communication, and y'all seem to have a good back and forth.
yeah,
I mean,
I'll communicate with him once he digests my email and responds, and then we'll go from there.
you know,
That's what I say.
if you need another voice at the table, say so, but
Okay.
I think you guys got it covered, so. All right, any further discussion on that?
Ms. Martha, you do need to sign that contract.
Okay.
before you leave today.
Okay.
So he's got to sign it, and then one of those three need to sign the attest portion.
Okay, alright, okay.
If there's no further discussion on that, all in favor of approving the extension of the contract for Mideast, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the town seal. You see he sent us a updated version where he included the number on the train that we talked about and the farmer.
Y'all have one in the binder.
I'd like to add that I appreciate Richard's input and what he's come up with. I think it's great. Especially the little addition to
And
the ag part.
the fly.
Yeah, I
I
thought that was
think
neat.
that was a big help.
Oh.
What's that number?
You looking for the, it's back here.
I have a copy in here too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I showed that to Shelton and my sister, and they liked it.
So what are the thoughts of the council? Do we have it? Do we
It's pretty
got
much,
back to the drawing board?
at this point, black and white.
Well, I think we would just approve that
The format.
this is it. You know, this, we want we want our seal to be. And then either Sheila or myself would get in contact with him and just say, hey, you know, we want to do the deal. And I had spoken with Will, and he had communicated, which I think is a good idea, that he would be available to help us with everything he's going to send within that packet that we were going to receive, like, you know, all the extra stuff, the simplified seals that we could put on the hats and the shirt, you know, all that stuff that we talked about, that if he sends that to us electronically, that he would also be willing to come if we have trouble maneuvering and working with what he sends. So I thought that was the only other ask we've got of him. We just need to say, this is it, you don't need to change anything, I think.
But black and white.
Yes.
One of the versions that's, you know, he said he was gonna send the simplified version and then the able to be blown up to infinity, but one of the others is also the ability to add colors.
When this says simplified, like you put on a t-shirt or hat or something, does anything go away that's presented here?
No, but from his description of it at least, you're taking some of the detail lines out. Because that.
Like a
would
few
be-
clouds? or-
Right, because that would, so see, like each of these clouds is made up of like 3 lines, it might be made up of 1 line instead.
Okay.
Because with an embroidery machine, it
So
can't
it's the same
get
general,
that kind of detail.
But I think what I understand, we're just gonna prove that, yes,
The
this is the way
concept,
we
right.
want the seal
Right.
to look.
Yeah.
What's gonna go on, all that's coming later.
okay.
But I'm just talking about,
Right, this is
It's
what.
a rough draft.
Rough draft. This is
no,
what
we're saying, this is
Yes.
what
That's
we
what we
want,
want.
this is what we want our seal to be.
Right.
And all the other combinations
Okay,
are what he's gonna send us, with the package that we're getting. So is that clear as mud, or?
yeah. I'll make a motion, we go forward.
The one question that I had, since we're getting down to a piece of permanence here, and the conversation's been had multiple times about that established date. The 1900 that's here is the first time Omar showed up on the map. The 1906 that you see floating around comes from, we've got a picture of the train with a caption under it. The bell was presented to us at the 100th anniversary of Beaumire. Well, that was in 2006. 1906 is 100 years. So kind of the question is, which one do we really want to go with? Because we're kind of etching it in stone here.
Well, that's I guess, the more accurate as far as the information we have. This is like a generic number, so to speak. But then I think it would be more meaningful to go with the 06.
I agree.
Can I ask a question?
Mhm.
The packet that you're talking about, getting all the files for the digitization for the embroidery machine and the SVG and the like t-shirts and polos and
Yeah, you're
that kind of
way over me, but yes, that's fine.
And I'd get the simplified comment, because that would be a massive file.
Right. Yeah, I think he's going to, exactly what that is, I can't tell you. But he will made us, I seem to think that it's going to be for like mugs and, you know,
Right,
just something that can
So
be.
we can take that packet or part of it and go have hats made or t-shirts.
Yes.
Embroidery, you
Leather
know,
hands
she's
or-
familiar with the process.
She could take the simple ones, send it off, get it digitized,
Or digitize it myself.
or digitize it herself and
Right.
embroider it on a hat or a shirt.
Yeah, that's what,
Yeah.
that's what all that.
Yeah,
Other stuff.
this is gorgeous.
So,
So.
I'll go ahead.
No, I was just supposed to say the motion.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you want to amend that motion to change the 1906.
Yes, to 1906, the date on the seal.
I second.
Any further discussion?
I'd like to thank all of Richard again, his input.
I mean, I'm sorry it was slow.
Wrong won't be
I-
on the day.
Nothing I could do, I was trying really hard,
Right.
made calls and people were very patient, so thank you for hanging in there. We finally got to I think a good situation.
Right.
But if there's no further discussion, all in favor of adopting this amended to 1906 established date, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Before we move on, I just want to know, Sheila, I'm not trying to put something else on your plate. Would you like for me to give you the contact information, maybe you have it, for Jonathan, the guy? And just say, hey, it's approved, the council met, can you please send? I don't want to start communicating, him sending me files,
Well, I think it needs to be a formal,
I just
you know,
wonder if I need to
from
pass
the
it
town to him for as far as the contract,
Yeah, I
I
don't
guess
mind
what you
doing
call
it, but it's up to them.
Or, Mayor, what do you think? I don't wanna be the go-between, just because I don't speak the language.
I don't as well either, but it's okay.
So I would just like for it to be who actually works.
Well, we need to have tracking record of it and file on it and a contract with him, I guess.
I think you already discussed the contract with him, what you're gonna pay him to do it, that's already.
Yeah.
been
We did, we
voted
just
on.
haven't put it in,
They've already
put
allotted
ink to
the budget
paper,
money.
and so we need to do that.
I mean, I don't mind doing it, but it's up to y'all if you want me to do it.
And I think he would be expecting a yes, you know,
Gotcha.
got, you
Right.
know, it's a done deal. Where would we need to send a check?
No, I'll type out a contract or something.
Okay.
We have to sign off on it.
Thank
You're welcome. Yeah, you'll have to send me his, I don't know if I've got it or not, you just have to send me his
I will.
email, Richard. I'll let you know.
All right, next item, new system for contact with townspeople. So what kind of brought this to the forefront? There have been multiple times over the last couple of years where having this immediate way to reach out would have been helpful. But for example, holiday trash service. Well, our trash service is gonna be picked up on Saturday instead of on Friday. Some of us have the calendar, some don't. And so rather than have Sheila get 120 phone calls, we discussed the possibility of having a way to text out a piece of information like that. We're not talking about spam text and a bunch of junk that nobody needs. We're talking about very specific purpose. We're also talking about individual residents would have to opt in. This is not something we're gonna put on. But having that capability would be very helpful, not just with the trash situation, but say state of emergency, natural disaster, those types of things. It would be helpful to be able to get immediate contact out to our citizens.
You're talking about doing in a text?
Yes, and Sheila has included a couple of different methodologies here because there's companies that do it. Some of them charge you a contract fee per month, which would
So how
be
does it,
ridiculous for us.
so what would they charge you for sending a text? I mean, that's above my pay grade.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that she has in here. One of the, which one is it?
960.
Where is that? Very back?
Yes, toward the back.
It's the last page, well, it's the last page, then the last page.
So there's a credit usage calculator here, based on 150 contacts. One time to send out to 150 people is $13, $13.50, sorry.
So you can't do it like a regular text? Not with that many people?
That gets into the only way that you can do as a regular text is you're showing everybody's contact information. And
So then
Not everybody's gonna be
reply
good with
back to the same group.
exactly, or,
So do we want it
It's
set up?
also not putting out my personal cell phone number or anybody else's.
well, and that's the biggie is
Okay,
not
would they be able to
releasing
text?
personal information.
Do we want or can they text back? We don't,
Yes.
that's something we need or don't need? That's not the reason for it.
That's not the purpose for it. The purpose is to go
So
one way.
can we set it up so that can't happen?
Yes, because the way that,
I think that would be the way to go, like we did to YouTube,
right, exactly.
no back.
Exactly, and that way, if one out of 150 people wants to get back, they can call Sheila, that's
Call it
that's
off.
what it's for, exactly. But no,
That
to
would
your,
drive you crazy if everybody got.
yeah, it would. I literally turn off group chats very often because
Right, yeah.
that's what happens. And so, no, making it as a one-way thing is preferable.
So that's a
for lot of
service that
reasons.
you can pay for.
Yes.
But you
You have
only
a
pay
special-
for it when you need
Would
it.
you have a special number to text from?
It's going from your computer terminal, isn't it?
They assign me a phone number. And then that's the number that it goes to.
Who is
Go
that
out.
through?
It's a company, it's down here somewhere. It's text,
So it ain't Verizon or cell
No.
service?
Yeah.
It's on the front page, text them all.
thank you. It says just text mode mass texting service. This is just one of them. I just printed out for one of them. It's like 9 cents and it'll cost me $13 to do everybody. And it's not like, I mean, I think we'll talk to somebody and they was gonna charge you how much a month to do
It
it.
was gonna be like $50 a month, and this
$50
was somebody
a
that
month.
reached out to me, hey, we have this whole program and all that, and I'm like, we don't need that, but okay.
So how do you go about getting everybody's,
You have to,
They have to opt in.
I have to mail
So
them
we
out a
do
form
it.
to sign.
Right.
send out
Send out a letter,
Notice.
this is what we're doing.
if you want to be involved, send your number.
Exactly.
Well, you have to sign the form and say, yes, you agree to have text sent to
Right.
them,
Right.
so that they can come back and say we did it anyway.
But it won't be, like you said, it won't be junk.
Right.
Every little thing
The-
that happens, just,
For me, in my mind, the only things that are worthy of going out on a text are either a trash pickup day change
disaster.
or an emergency.
Yeah.
That's it. To me, there's no other reason for this office to be reaching out to every single person in town via text. Now, that being said,
You know, like a hurricane came.
When
or something
we-
like that,
Oh.
you know.
if we decide to go
Tornado, yeah.
along and do this, we probably wanna detail that in the resolution.
Fine,
To
too.
do it, exactly. Say, these are the circumstances under which a text gets sent out.
Well, how about for like public hearings, we always discuss whether we're gonna, could it not possibly be used for,
Yes, it could.
hey, we're having a public hearing on.
And I don't think having it for every public meeting would be a thing,
no.
but particularly a public hearing,
Right.
yes, that would be
Right.
appropriate.
Just
Because we do that,
technically-
once a year?
But technically, that's not required for a public meeting.
Correct.
Sheila puts it on the sign when our meetings are.
And it has to go in the newspaper too, don't it?
Public hearings.
Yes. we
Public
have
hearings,
Public
yes.
hearings too, yeah.
So I'm not necessarily asking for us to make a move on this today. I just want the thoughts and that kind of stuff, so we can come back with something,
If and when,
with a lot more detail.
if and when we do, how long does it take to put it in place?
Next day, same day?
No. You got to print off all those forms, you got to mail all the forms out.
Well, I
to
mean, as far as the
townspeople.
software side of it, it's
Software.
immediate.
Ever how long it takes to download it, and set it up.
You have to get the numbers from the public.
Right, exactly. Then it's, up
It's gonna take
to
a process.
USPS on that one.
Would you do the ETJ?
Probably. That's up to you guys ultimately. A number of the things that we've talked about so far, at least, that would be on there, the trash in particular would be irrelevant for them, but the emergency stuff would be absolutely relevant.
Well, I personally like doctor's office sending out, looking forward to seeing you on Tuesday at
Right,
3:00.
yeah.
You know, some people, I understand, don't care for that, and they can, I assume, just not sign up for it, but I think it's a good thing. I see positive.
Have a motion?
I'd be glad to make it in form of a motion. If we're ready to move. If we need
Let
to look more deeply into it, that's fine.
I'd feel better if we looked more deeply, again, make sure that I'm just kind of trying to get a feel for the room, so to speak, on it,
I think it's a good idea.
Good. Well, we'll come back with a detailed, proposal as well as the instances that it'll actually be used for.
There she go.
I think we did it wrong.
All right. Need some water or something?
I'm not gonna do you
You need a
like
what?
Randy does me and says, are you choking?
can still get my breath.
Oh, Lord have mercy. George Allen, he's got you some water, see.
Good job, man.
As long as they're coughing, you're breathing.
You need some help.
I did take some cough syrup before I came, but I don't think it helped.
It's going around.
Well, I could call myself in over my cold, but
Next. Good. Okay, next item, Richard and Martha both have ethics class due within 12 months. So Sheila is working on getting that link to you. They're kind of backlogged, it seems like right now. But,
It's
should
not,
get
it's not
that.
gonna be available again until October.
Okay.
I don't,
Just whatever,
well, I
whatever.
called him and he said, we used to be 60, but that's 12, you have 12 months to take your class, so you should still be okay.
Okay.
I'll get it to you as soon as I can get into it and get it.
But it's something, you gonna send us a link or whatever?
Uh-huh, yes, cause I had to pay for it up front. They'll send me a link, and I'll just forward it to you.
Last month and this month, we've kind of given you some samples of, format for financial report.
Right.
Just kind of give you an opportunity to pick one.
Well, number 2 works for me,
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, Richard.
best, but farmers, I don't like farmers personally.
Yeah.
I prefer the monthly one.
Huh?
I prefer the monthly one,
Okay, which one's that looking?
what we've been having.
First,
Number 2, you know what number 2?
Only thing I want is bigger print. If possible.
Trouble is, we can only print on that big a piece of paper. And I agree, I have to kind of
Put it on 2 pieces.
to get it there, if it'll, I don't know, Sheila's been playing with it, and sometimes these things, when you try to get them on multiple pieces of paper, they chop them up weird, and you kind of have to.
Yeah.
I've still been known to tape the piece of paper together. and
Well, what's the
actually read it.
difference actually in 1 and 2? It looks almost like the same thing.
One is each month, you get July, August, September, October, November, December. On the second page, you're only getting specifically that month and then your year-to-dates.
I sort of agree with George Emma. I mean, she's got more experience
Right, yeah.
in that industry. Bookkeeping.
I think we'll be able to compare the months better than we can on this one.
that's fine with me. I'm not gonna be dealing with it. But anyway.
Except I don't understand why we can't get the total here and year to date and the budget remaining like I do for the expenses.
Is that something we can add?
Yes.
If you can do it for the bottom, I don't see why you can't do it for the top.
Is that doable, Sheila?
Should be, yeah.
I mean, it's been done on all these other ones.
Yeah, I got
So
you.
the data's there.
Yeah, it's fine. Yep, I can do that.
Looking at a motion.
Yep.
Just make a motion that we go with format 1 with adding,
budget remaining.
The, total comparison over here, budgets, year to date.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of format one with the added year-to-date budget? Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. At the last minute, we did get another thing that we want to pull in front of you. Taryn decorated the town hall for us and, ended up purchasing some materials to do so. So total on that came to $69.80. I don't have her actual receipts yet, but as soon as I got them, we'll reimburse pending council approval.
Make a motion, we reimburse.
I second.
All in favor of reimbursing Taryn the $69.80, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
One more.
Shoot.
Did we all got an update yet for Community Day?
No.
No, okay.
Not yet.
And one more thing, then I will hush. As far as our going out to eat, we said we're gonna do it January, February, possibly. Put it to have for Christmas
Or, I think,
or whatever.
we'll talk about it later, yeah.
Okay.
We just had a ton on the agenda
All right.
today. Speaking of the Momar Committee, how was your meeting last week?
I was sick, so I was not there. I have not gotten an update from what was discussed. I know that, they're talking about the whole gist of, the crux of this year, instead of being a Momar day, it being broken down into several different activities. But we haven't pinned down anything specific. And I'm still waiting on Thursday's notes to get that. I do have a copy of the minute notes, or the minutes from the November meeting, if y'all want that. I'm not sure, maybe they've already been distributed, I'm not sure.
Sheila gets it.
Okay.
So,
Is that the committee that met?
The outreach committee.
So they don't want to have a community day this year? I mean, I think everybody enjoyed it. I mean, and it was something for the town, for people in the town, so, yeah. Kinda hate that they don't want to do that.
Loretta had said she was gonna come and explain what the,
They never should.
there seems to be some confusion. And I would like to clear it up. The Momar Outreach Committee, because it is assigned, members are assigned by the council, because we have an elected official on it, is a public body. They are required to comply with all aspects of public meeting law. In the town of Mobile, we stream all of our public meetings. That is the guideline and has been for almost a year. Meeting off-site to avoid that is illegal.
This one there,
Illegal.
did we not tell them they could meet?
Nope.
Up front whenever they wanted, where?
Yes.
We did,
You had to have a letter.
before we
Have a
made it,
letter.
before we made it a public body. As I
We're
explained.
just having one council member on it. Changes that.
Yes.
No, it
I
was
mean,
a,
as well as-
it was a public, it was a
As well
public committee
as-
from the minute that the town created it.
Correct, thank you, Tim. As
There,
well
we
as-
just didn't have the committee member on it, or the board member on it, according to the ordinance.
Well, who asked for board members? Did the committee ask to have a board member, or did that come
The-
from
It's
The
because we
committee
were,
asked for the board, or
Right,
brought up the
Because
ordinance,
of the
the
ordinance?
ordinance.
Okay, I remember
The
that.
ordinance
Yeah.
requirement.
Right,
correct.
I will add this, when we, because I was here when y'all made the decision to continue to record the meetings, the only two meetings that were voted on was the town council meeting and the planning board meeting.
right.
There was no mention of the,
Right, but all that happened before they asked for the
Well,
town council member. to
right,
place
but what I'm
on it.
saying is, if you would have to add the committee to y'all's motion to record and
Yeah.
not live stream, but record everything.
Right. And I don't think that the committee itself had such an issue with essentially the premise of being recorded. It was not being informed that we were being recorded. That was where the backlash came from.
Right.
Just the courtesy of saying, hey, y'all are being recorded. I think that would have been
Sufficient.
sufficient. But as far as, where we met, I didn't know that there was a requirement for us to meet here,
The verbiage
but
when we,
good to know.
the verbiage when we put the camera in was all public meetings. At the time, the Momar Committee was not actively meeting. But the verbiage was all public meetings, which is why the camera gets moved to the Rural Club when we do special meetings over there and all that. Ultimately, legally speaking, it doesn't matter where you do it, as long as all of the conditions are met. And in Momar, that's a condition. At this time.
So regardless of where we're at, it must got to be on YouTube.
Exactly.
And you have to have minutes.
I got minutes.
10 minutes.
I got minutes.
Public notice of the meeting, all those other things. Brian, you're very familiar with it, right?
But that's just because we voted to have ours recorded. Because all towns, it's not state required that you have to have it done.
There is no law that towns have to record meetings. That's
Correct. But since we voted to do it,
right. And other towns that record meetings record all their public meetings because that's what transparency
the ones
is.
that do
Yeah.
it. But all of them don't do it.
Correct. That is what transparency is.
I think, if I could add something, I think it is required that a recording be made, but not necessarily video. Every town meeting I cover has either got a tape recorder or their video recording, but there's some recording that they have to make, I'm pretty sure.
Further questions, concerns, new topics?
what did Sheila want us to do about the book? You know, the notebook shoe,
Yeah, you can have your paperwork, I just need binders.
you need
left
to
here.
bind it back, okay,
Yes.
that's fine, alright?
Paperwork's yours. If you don't want it, you just leave it in the binder, and I'll dispose of it.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, I need a second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?